Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to day 66 of Qur'an in a Year Plus, where we learn to look at the world and live life according to the lens of the Qur'an. Today we're going to be looking at verses 126 to 134 of Surah An-Nisā. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وَكَانَ اللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ مُحِيطًا. To Allah alone belongs the dominion of everything in the heavens and the earth. Allah has full knowledge, power, and control over all of His creation. وَيَسْتَفْتُونَكَ فِي النِّسَاءِ قُلِ اللَّهُ يُفْتِيكُمْ فِيهِنَّ وَمَا يُتْلَى عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الْكِتَابِ فِي يَتَامَى النِّسَاءِ اللَّاتِي لَا تُؤْتُونَهُنَّ مَا كُتِبَ لَهُنَّ وترغبون أن تنكحوهن والمستضعفين من الولدان وأن تقوموا لليتامى بالقسط وما تفعلوا من خير فإن الله كان به عليما. They ask you, O Prophet, about the rulings concerning women, what rights and duties they have. Say, Allah clarifies for you what you ask about and explains what has already been recited to you in the Qur'an regarding the orphaned women under your care. Those to whom you do not give the dowries or inheritance Allah has prescribed, yet you still desire to marry them or prevent them from marrying others, seeking to benefit from their wealth. Allah also clarifies what is required regarding the weak and vulnerable among children, that they must be given their rightful shares and not be wronged by taking their property. And He explains that you must act justly toward orphans and care for their well-being in both this life and the next. Whatever good you do for them or anyone else, Allah knows it fully and will reward you for it. وَإِنِ امْرَأَةٌ خَافَتْ مِنْ بَعْلِهَا نُشُوزًا أَوْ إِعْرَاضًا فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْهِمَا أَنْ يُصْلِحَا بَيْنَهُمَا صُلْحًا وَالصُّلْحُ خَيْرٌ وَأُحْضِرَتِ الْأَنْفُسُ الشُّحَّ وَإِن تُحْسِنُوا وَتَتَّقُوا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ خَبِيرًا. Allah clarifies here some rulings concerning spouses and what may arise between them of conflict or emotional distance. If a woman fears that her husband will turn away from her or lose interest in her, there is no blame upon them if they come to a mutual understanding that she willingly gives up some of her rights, such as reducing her financial support or time, in order to preserve the marriage. Such reconciliation is better for both than divorce. But human souls are naturally inclined to greed and self-interest, reluctant to give up what they feel entitled to, which can make reconciliation difficult. Therefore, one should strive to overcome this inner greed and instead cultivate generosity, forgiveness, and a willingness to let go for the sake of peace and goodness in the relationship. And if you, O husbands, do good by treating your wives kindly even when you feel dislike toward them, enduring the hardship of patience, fulfilling their rights, living with them honorably, and giving them their fair share just as others receive, then this is a form of ihsan, goodness. And if you show goodness in all your affairs and are mindful of Allah, know that Allah is fully aware of all that you do. وَلَن تَسْتَطِيعُوا أَن تَعْدِلُوا بَيْنَ النِّسَاءِ وَلَوْ حَرَصْتُمْ فَلَا تَمِيلُوا كُلَّ الْمَيْلِ فَتَذَرُوهَا كَالْمُعَلَّقَةِ وَإِن تُصْلِحُوا وَتَتَّقُوا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. You will never be able, O husbands, to be perfectly just between your wives in emotional inclination, no matter how hard you try. For love and affection are matters of the heart beyond your control. But do not lean completely toward one, leaving the other in a state of neglect, neither fully married nor free. Instead, strive to mend what is within your control, fulfill your responsibilities with fairness, and be mindful of Allah. Indeed, Allah is ever forgiving and merciful. وَإِن يَتَفَرَّقَا يُغْنِ اللَّهُ كُلًّا مِّن سَعَتِهِ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ وَاسِعًا حَكِيمًا. And if the husband and wife separate, whether through divorce or khulu', mutual separation, Allah will enrich each of them from His vast bounty. He may bless the man with ample provision and a wife better suited for him. And He may bless the woman with ample provisions and with a husband better suited for her. Indeed, Allah is infinitely generous and merciful, and He is always wise in His decrees and arrangements. وَلِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَقَدْ وَصَّيْنَا الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ وَإِيَّاكُمْ أَنِ اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَإِن تَكْفُرُوا فَإِنَّ لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَنِيًّا حَمِيدًا. To Allah alone belongs the dominion of all that is in the heavens and the earth and everything between them. We commanded the people of the book before you, the Jews and the Christians, and we have also commanded you, O believers, to obey Allah's commands and avoid His prohibitions. If you disbelieve or turn away from this covenant, you only harm yourselves. Allah is free of need from your obedience, for His is the kingdom of the heavens and the earth. He is absolutely self-sufficient and deserving of all praise for His perfect attributes and actions. وَلِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ وَكِيلًا. To Allah alone belongs the dominion of the heavens and the earth. He alone is worthy of obedience and worship, and Allah is sufficient as the one who manages all affairs of His creation. إِن يَشَأْ يُذْهِبْكُمْ أَيُّهَا النَّاسُ وَيَأْتِ بِآخَرِينَ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَلَى ذَلِكَ قَدِيرًا. If He wills, He can destroy you, O people, and bring forth others in your place, people who will obey Him and not disobey. Indeed, Allah has power over all things. مَنْ كَانَ يُرِيدُ ثَوَابَ الدُّنْيَا فَعِندَ اللَّهِ ثَوَابُ الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ سَمِيعًا بَصِيرًا. Whoever among you seeks only the reward of this world, let him know that with Allah is the reward of both this world and the hereafter. So let him seek them both from Allah, for Allah hears all that you say, sees all that you do, and will reward you accordingly. As we reflect over today's verses, Allah highlights what happens when the husband is the one who is committing nushuz. When he has dislike towards his wife, he's not responding to her, he's turning away from her. Now, in a situation like this, it is permissible for them to come and sit and discuss. And as a relationship grows and the love matures and changes, then they can withdraw some of their rights, such as she willfully takes less maintenance, and he agrees to that. And he says that reconciliation is better. And Shaykh al-Sa'di explains that from the general wording and meaning of this verse, we learn that reconciliation between any two parties who have a right or a dispute between them is always better than each insisting on every last part of their claim. Why? Because reconciliation brings peace, preserves love and unity, and nurtures the noble quality of forgiveness and generosity. Such reconciliation is permissible and praiseworthy in all matters, except when it involves making something unlawful permissible or something permissible unlawful, in which case it ceases to be reconciliation and becomes injustice. Now, when it comes to disputes, and especially in marital disputes, shuh takes over, which is this greed that every person has, that makes a person hold on to what is theirs, and they're not willing to let go. And Shaykh al-Sa'di, he mentions that human souls are naturally inclined towards shuh, greed and self-centeredness, meaning a reluctance to give what is due and insisting on claiming every right for oneself. This is part of human nature, but Allah calls us to overcome it. We must replace shuh with samaha, which is generosity, contentment, and the willingness to give others their rights while being satisfied with less of our own. And that's why Allah says next, وَإِن تُحْسِنُوا وَتَتَّقُوا, and if you do good and are mindful of Allah. And Abu Hayyan, he says that Allah encourages husbands to show excellence in their treatment of their wives, even if they feel dislike or lack of desire for them. He also commands taqwa, because a husband's aversion towards his wife might lead him to wrong her, harm her, or argue with her unjustly. So Allah calls the believer to rise above emotion and act with righteousness, maintaining kindness, fairness, and restraint. For true goodness lies in doing what pleases Allah, not merely what pleases the self. Now, part of striving towards ihsan is learning how to actually make that a reality, in terms of the skills that a person needs in order to actually fulfill the command of Allah. And many times when communication isn't good, and misunderstandings are happening, and the natural inclination of the soul to be stingy, then that becomes an obstacle to implement ihsan in the relationship. But Allah encourages us to strive with ihsan and to always be mindful of Him. And He says, وَإِن تُصْلِحُوا وَتَتَّقُوا, and if you reconcile and are mindful of Allah, then Allah is ever forgiving and merciful. Shaykh al-Sa'di, he said that if you strive to mend what is between you and your spouses, forcing your heart to do what it dislikes in order to fulfill your duty, Allah will forgive your past shortcomings and treat you with mercy, just as you showed mercy and compassion to your spouse. So a person strives to implement the guidelines of Allah, following the example of the Prophet ﷺ, and being forgiving, because they hope that by being forgiving, that becomes a means for them to earn Allah's forgiveness. Now, once again, there's never any room for oppression or treating one unjustly. And that's why it comes next, that if they were to separate, then Allah will enrich each of them from His abundance. And Ibn Ashur, he mentions that this phrase indicates that separation between spouses can sometimes be better for both. For Allah may grant each one comfort, peace, or a better partner after they separate. And Imam al-Tabari, he explains that Allah mentions this verse to direct His servants to where they should turn their hopes when facing separation or the pain of losing a spouse. It reminds them that when they feel distress, loneliness, or financial hardship after parting, they should seek comfort and provision from Allah, for He is the true owner of all things. Whoever owns everything in the heavens and the earth can easily provide, console, and replace what was lost. So a person should never be fearful, but rather put their trust in Allah and to know that He is Al-Wasi', the one whose treasure has no limits. And He is the one that is vast in power, knowledge, generosity, and mercy. And this verse comforts the separated hearts, teaching that Allah's richness and mercy never end. And whoever turns to Him will find sufficiency and peace. And Allah tells us that whoever desires the reward of this world, then with Allah is the reward of this world and the hereafter. That Allah is the one who possesses this world, and He is the one who possesses the hereafter. So seek them both from Him. Ibn Ashur mentions that this verse may be understood in two ways. First, that it serves as guidance for the believers, teaching them that faith should not prevent them from seeking the lawful rewards of this world, for both worldly and eternal blessings come from Allah's bounty. And it also serves as a reminder to the believers that seeking worldly gain should not distract them from striving for the hereafter, for combining the pursuit of both is best, and both come from Allah alone. So the believer is always asking Allah for what is best in this world and the next. So as we walk away from today's episode, let's take a deeper look at how these verses end. It comes, and Allah is all encompassing of everything. And whatever good you do, Allah is fully aware of it. And if you do good and are mindful of Allah, then indeed Allah is all aware of what you do. And if you make things right and are mindful of Allah, then indeed Allah is ever forgiving and merciful. And Allah is all encompassing and all wise. Allah is self-sufficient and praiseworthy. To Allah belongs whatever is in the heavens and whatever is on the earth, and Allah is sufficient as a disposer of affairs. If He wills, He can do away with you, O people, and bring others in your place, and Allah is ever capable of that and everything. And Allah is all hearing and all seeing. Now, just some benefits from this, that knowing that Allah encompasses everything removes the burden of excessive control. The anxious mind tries to manage every outcome, but awareness that Allah oversees and arranges all things allows a person to surrender control without feeling helpless. When we remember that Allah sees our intentions, not just our actions, we no longer need to impress others to seek validation, because Allah knows and He sees everything. And when we know that Allah is all hearing, all seeing, our pain is witnessed. We don't have to suppress or deny it. Rather, talk to Him. Pour your emotions out and know that He's listening, and know that He is the one who is going to bring relief. And that also teaches us to be mindful, to observe His commands in every situation. It teaches us moral accountability. When we internalize that Allah is fully aware of what we do, ethics becomes self-sustaining. We act with integrity, whether seen or unseen. And it also teaches us compassion and forgiveness, that knowing Allah is forgiving and merciful inspires us to mirror that mercy in our own relationships by letting go, reconciling, and choosing kindness over retaliation. And there's so much more that we can uncover. But let's reflect and see what is one thing that allows me to cultivate that level of awareness with Allah. May Allah bless us with the sweetness of faith. May He make us amongst those who strive for excellence. May He rectify our situations. I'll see you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.